So the first test we're going to run is a blood smear, which we can use to observe the structure and number of the red blood cells. It also allows us to see if the red blood cells are uniform in their shape and distribution, and also whether there are additional white blood cells, which we can also observe for specific immune responses. So what we're going to need for this particular test to start with is just to pop down some paper towel just so we've got a clean working space. We're then going to need a slide, and we're going to give the slides a good clean before we start. So we've got some industrial methylated spirit and some lint tissues that we're going to use to clean it. And what you want to do to start with is just grab one of the lint tissues, make sure you've got gloves on as we have. And just remember, this is flammable, so you just want to be a little bit careful where you're using it. Obviously we don't want to be using it near a naked flame. Pop some methylated spirit onto your lint tissue, and all we're going to do is just give our slide a good clean to start with, just in case there's any residue on there or any grease, because what we want to have is a nice clean surface for our blood smear to be performed onto. So pop that in your clinical waste bin and just air dry your slide. Try not to move it around too much, because obviously we don't want to contaminate it with any microbes that might be in the air, but we do want to make sure that it's nice and dry. So that would then give us a nice clean and hopefully grease-free microscope slide. Once we've done that, we then want to get our blood sample. And it's always worth trying to start off by reconstituting your blood samples. So these are relatively old, they're certainly not fresh blood samples, and as you can see from our sample, we have got some separation that has occurred. So you want to make sure you give the sample a reasonable shake. We don't want to actively shake it because we don't want to cause the red blood cells to divide and split, but we do want to give it a little bit of an invert just to make sure that we reconstitute any sample that may have separated. So what we're then going